Okay, so we're going to start or pick up where we left off last week when we were looking at the construction of grids within design. And we looked at the Van de Graaff method last week, which I'll just go over here, Photoshop, and refresh your mind. So we looked at this method which goes back to medieval manuscript construction, and it was basically a way of subdividing a page, or basically subdividing a page, and then using that subdivision to hang your geometry on. So we subdivided, then we use our guides, which is Control and colon, and then if I just show you here, so I'll take off the initial subdivision, we ended up with a grid like that, based on wherever these lines basically intersected, we were able to find an intersection there, one there, one there. So we would just create a guideline wherever those intersections occurred, both horizontally and vertically. Once we'd done that multiple times, we ended up with a grid. And then on top of that grid, you can add your basic geometry, which I've just used colors and basic shapes to show how those how those shapes could be, in effect, text or image. But it's to look at the way that things are spaced on an image, and how you can construct an image just by using the grids, and how the grids then just become a way of helping you to align objects, text, image objects that you wish to use within your design. So today we're going to use a slightly different method. We're going to look at the Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence basically is a sequence of numbers that was observed in nature by Fibonacci. Can't quite remember the exact date when this goes back to, but I'll look that up. Maybe you could look that up for me. And the sequence number, the number sequence is now frequently used within design, and it has been since the Renaissance and perhaps antiquity. In fact, it's often expressed as the ratio 8 to 13. I'll explain how this sequence works and how it has been used historically in the creation of paintings and design. So ostensibly you've got a sequence of numbers like this, and if you look at the way that the numbers operate, you can see that each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. Okay, so let's say 3, it's the sum of 2 and 1. Take 5, it's the sum of 3 and 2. Take 8, it's the sum of 5 and 3. 13 is the sum of 8 and 5. That principle goes on to infinity, and it is in fact guided by the ratio of 1.618, which is often rounded up to 1.612. Sorry, 1.62. The way we can apply it within design is quite straightforward. So we can basically draw two small squares, and then create a third square using the combined lengths of the two original squares together. So if you look at it in an overall diagrammatic process like this, you have those two initial small squares, then the combined length to the left of it here, and then you'll see the number sequence. So 1 plus 2 gives you your 3. 3 and 2 gives you your 5, and so on. So we can create this inside Photoshop and generate a grid based upon it. So in Photoshop, there was an example of the Fibonacci sequence as found in nature. Seashell, and you can see that the spiral follows the same pattern, and that is basically a ratio, 1.618 ratio, where one length is divided by 1.618, which is rounding up to 1.62, and we're going to do something similar in a moment. So let's start with the centimeter 1 by 1. Okay, so we're going to use a custom setting, centimeter 1 by 1, 300 pixels per inch, RGB of 8-bit. Okay. There it is. So let's give this little 1 centimeter square a color. There it is. I'm just going to create a background layer underneath there. I'm just going to call that background. And I'm just going to give that a white color. Sorry, just a white fill. There we go, white fill. Okay, so go back to our Fibonacci sequence. So we need to double that. First action is to double that. So let's go to our canvas size. And we'll say that the height now needs to be 2 centimeters. Okay, so let's just, I'm hitting Control and T to allow me to pick that initial square up. And I'm just going to fill, I'm going to put some more paint into that new area. Just make the tone a little bit different so we can pick it out. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so I've got my first 2 centimeters. Now I need this one, which is, as you can see, double that. So it's a 2 centimeter square. So in effect, I'm going to need to generate a 3 centimeter width and a 2 centimeter height to get the same proportion. Okay, so I'm going to go to my canvas size. And I'm going to need a 3 centimeter width and a 2 centimeter height. Okay, so there we go. Control and T again allows me to slide that across. I'm just going to use my paint, get a different tone again, just so I can differentiate. Okay. Okay, so let's look at our diagram. Okay, so actually I've got it the other way around. Not that it makes any difference, but we could just rotate that 180. There we go. Just to give us the same structure there. Okay, so I now need to create this section, which is 3 centimeters long and 2 centimeters high. But actually, I'm going to want to create that whole section, so I have to say, well, that's 2 centimeters high there, plus 2, so that's 4 centimeters high. And 1, 2, 3 centimeters long. So go back into here, go back to my canvas size, and my height is going to be doubled, 4, and 3 centimeters long. Okay, so Control and T allows me to pick that up, put that down to the bottom, and hit return, choose a slightly different tone. Okay, there's my sequence. So 1, 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, 3 long, 1, 2, 3, 4 high. So now we're going to create this next panel. So we're going to have to double this, and we're going to double it. In effect, it's like mirroring it on the horizontal. So we're going to need another 1. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to need a total length of 6, which is 3 doubled, over here. So we're going to have 6 by 4 in total. Let's put that into our Photoshop document. And currently we've got a height of 4, but we need to double the width now. And we're going to say 6. And there we go. So this process just keeps on rolling. You double, let me just nudge that into position. Okay, and I'm going to put another colour in there. There we go. Okay, so the process is doubling and doubling. So now this time, this goes on infinitely, but I'll just do one more last double. So this time I need to double the height. So double that to 8. Command and T, take it down. I think I'm there pretty much. Just to make sure, just nudging it with the arrow keys to get it right in terms of alignment. Again, I'm just going to put a little colour in there. so I can see the difference. Okay, so this is how our spiral gets formed, by connecting all these points together to get into here. Okay, so this goes on and on and on, and you can scale this up. So if we were using an A2 document, for example, we could, why don't I do this, just create a brand new A2 document, show you what I'm thinking. So A3 is our option, and then we'll just canvas size, double the width, so put relative on here, and we're just going to put 29.7 into the width. That doubles the document size. Now, if we take our example, I'm just going to hit Control A. It's Command obviously on a Mac, Control on a PC, Command A, Command C. Go across to this A2 document I've created, and Command V. Now, if I hit Control or Command T, rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm just going to scale that up. Okay. Right, I'll just hit OK for that. I'm going to scale that a little bit more, I think, just to get it right. But ostensibly, you can see the way that the grid, so I'm going to use my rulers, I'm going to use a few guides. Okay, so the guides are going to come in now, and these are going to obviously help us align things, and so on. Okay, get that alignment slightly better. Okay, so this is the basic principle of dividing it, and you can see that with an A2 piece of paper, it's not quite following the golden section ratio. There is a slight overhang here. That's that white section there. But we can live with that, and we can find an adjustment for it. And the adjustment that we will use is by applying the golden section to help divide a page like an A2 page. So we can apply a slightly different method to deal with very specific paper sizes, using the golden section and the number that I mentioned earlier, which is 1.618, which is rounded up to 1.62. We're going to use that as a way of dividing our A2 document. So basically, we just take one of the dimensions, like the width of the document, and we divide it by 1.62. Let's do that in Photoshop. Okay, so in Photoshop, create a new A2 document. So A3, in fact, I should really have set up a custom size by now, but anyway, A3, and image, canvas size, and I'll make sure relative is clicked, and then in the width, 29.7, say OK. Okay, so that's my A2, so I'll just save that as an A2 golden section. Okay. Oh no, okay, golden section _02. Okay, that'll do me. Okay, so let's start by looking at the canvas size. So currently we've got a width of 59.4, so we need our calculator. Well, I do. Anyway, you may not. I certainly do. 59.4, so we'll go 59.4 divided by 1.62 gives me a new length of 36.6, or 36.6. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new document, and I'm going to make this a custom size. So we'll start with an A3, so it's the same height, but the new dimension is 36.6. I'll just create that. That is not what I meant. Let me do that again. So, new document. I'll go for custom size 36 by. Sorry, there's my mistake. I'm dealing with millimeters, not centimeters. So 366 by 420. Okay, so that is my new dimension, which was using the division of 1.62. So taking the width and divide it by 1.62 gives me 36.6. I'm just going to fill that with a color. I'm going to select all. So Control A or Command A on a Mac, Control C or Command C, and go across to my golden section document and paste that in. So the golden section has given me a division of my length by 1.62, and that is the new dividing line based on that golden section. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this section, the 36.6, and we're going to divide that again by 1.62. So here we go. 36.6 divided by 1.62 equals 22.6. So we'll go across to that other document I set up, look inside its canvas size, and I want now the width to be 22.6. So turn that relative off in this case, and we'll go 22.6 by 42. And it's saying some clipping will occur, but that's what I expect, so okay with that. Change the color slightly so you can see it when it goes in. Fill that new color in there. Control A or Command A, Control C to copy, go across to my A2 and paste that in. So now I've got my next division right there, so I've got another guide. And you just keep on doing that same process with the width by dividing it and dividing it and dividing it. And my method is to use a second document so that I can actually generate a tone and then put it in here to help me visually. But eventually you'll end up with something like this, where you've got your initial division, the next division, and so on, and so on, and so on. And then what you can do is you can do the same to the height as well as the width to give you your verticals and horizontal. So you've got your horizontal, you've got your vertical guides, but we also need our horizontal guide. So we need to do the same with the width, which I have done previously, and there they are. I'll just add them in. And eventually, of course, you end up with a grid. And I can turn the colours off just to leave me with my grid. That background is a bit much, as I want something a little bit, that's better. Okay, so you can see that now. So that's my A2 piece of paper, and I'm starting to form the grid on it, and that's using the Fibonacci 1.62, or the golden section as it's often referred to, as a way of dividing both the width of the document and then the height of the document. And so to finish off, I would like to ask you to make sure that your sketchbooks have evidence of your research into Van der Graaf, Jan Schickel, Joseph Muller-Brockmann, New Graphique, and the golden section. I've got a bit of a cold, so I keep sniffing, do apologise. So just to also remind you that in your sketchbooks I'd like to see some experimentations on Photoshop where you generate your own grids based on Van der Graaf and the golden section. And then just want to see you experimenting with your own layouts, maybe based on Muller-Brockmann's work in particular, but it should be a good exercise for you to begin getting ready for your own poster campaign and looking at how you can construct a document and looking at the underlying geometry and structure of a document. So yeah, I hope that was useful. Look forward to seeing what you generate. Okay, thanks.